Shalom, y'all. My end is here with this week's Facetiously Familial, where everyone's a philosopher and nobody does research. Joining me today are my two new co-hosts, my mom and brother.
Hey.
So, right before we started recording this podcast, my brother was telling us a story about one of his exes that I cut off to do the intro. How's about we jump back into that?
Alright, so I listen to a lot of very inappropriate songs. As you probably all know, this particular one was from South Park. Bigger, longer, and uncut. Great name for a movie.
Yes.
So anyway, this song a lot of people will probably recognize. So I would play these songs for my exes, and like they would get all outraged about them. And it got to the point where eventually I could just start like humming or whistling a few of the bars and immediately get that reaction out of them without doing anything. So I just go like da 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 da. Immediate reaction.
Okay. And this is how you know you're exactly like your dad, because he sings Aqualung.
Sitting on a park bench.
Oh my god. Because all you have to do is mention the snot and then I'm out.
Nice.
Easy fingers smearing shabby clothes.
Oh god.
So fun little fact about that song is they actually featured that song in Anchorman when Will Ferrell was playing the flute. So fun little fact about Aqualung. That is the only song, or one of the few songs in Jethro Tull, where Ian Anderson doesn't actually play the flute. So they have this whole flute solo with Will Ferrell, and then he says, "Hey, Aqualung." Ian Anderson doesn't play the flute in that entire song.
Nice.
That is awesome. I had no idea. Oh my god. Now I've got a fun fact for Dad.
There you go. Now you just need to watch Anchorman.
Oh my god. Yeah,
So,
Go ahead.
Does anyone want to start us off on a topic this week?
Oh, I've got two topics. Anyone
All
else? Right. Okay, first one was I realized last night that I have a surprisingly weird hobby that is the exact opposite of a profitable hobby.
Okay.
I like when new Magic the Gathering set cards come out. I like looking at the very most expensive ones and picking out which one actually sucks. Like, this card is way overhyped, it's awful, and the price is going to just plummet. So, for instance, when Return of Ravnica came out, surprise, surprise, it came out with another Jace card. And it looked awful. But for some reason, it got hyped up so much, it was $40 a pop.
Well, it's because it was a Jace card. Doesn't matter.
Sucked.
Just slap his face onto anything and you can automatically mark it up for about 200%.
It was so bad.
So what we need you to do is troll the bad cards so you can make us some money. Is that right?
It's the opposite. The price is going down. Unless you want to short it somehow. You buy it at the intro, the hype goes up, you sell it before it drops. I had a roommate.
The other end of the cards. And
Yeah.
figure out which ones will go up.
Yeah. You remember my old roommate Matt? The one who almost never bathed?
Jesus.
Except for
I
when
did not know about that.
Except he would fall asleep in the bathtub for like 6 hours, but that's a different story. But he had a real knack for picking out cards that were actually good. So he bought a play set, so 4 cards. There's one card that was like $1 or $2. Within a week of him buying them, they rose up to $10 each.
Damn.
Wow. So you need to make friends with him.
Last I heard, he's a professor now.
Oh shit, he actually finished his doctorate.
Yes.
Good.
Well, congratulations. I apologize for all the noise from my phone.
Mute thy phone.
Doing that. I'm doing that. We were supposed to be done with this by my clock and on our way to Waynesville, and it was telling me that we should leave in 10 minutes. Sorry. Anyway.
So, John, do you still play Magic? I know that you have dipped in and out of it for a couple of years.
No, in a way. So I haven't been playing recently, but instead what I've been doing is you take a deck of cards, and you assign push-ups to the rarities. So this right here is a...
That's too close. Back it up.
You have to get close, because I'm trying to show you only this one thing. See how that's silver?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's out of focus.
You just need the color. You don't need it. So, like, this one is red. 10 push-ups. So basically, I just go through I shuffle up the deck of cards, flip the card over, do that.
So he spends hundreds of dollars to buy cards for something he could do with a deck of playing cards.
Exactly. Yes. I'm glad you're caught up with this.
Yeah.
They have prettier pictures. It's more motivating when you know that if you pull a Jace, that evil bastard is going to make you do 10 more push-ups. But if you pull a Tybalt, that worthless bastard is also going to make you do 10 push-ups.
But the one has a foot on your back.
It's also a thing to do. So Magic rotates cards like once a year, I think. Once or twice a year. They just say all cards before this point, you can't use them in standard anymore. So it's a good use of old cards. So like there's quite a few cards in this deck that technically aren't standard legal anymore.
Oh, aren't playable.
Exactly. So
right.
Like I actually showed you one of them. Actually, here's one. Glorybringer. He's a cool little card, but can't use him anymore unless you want to go to Modern.
And Modern is disgustingly powerful and wildly expensive to...
No.
Really?
No, you're thinking Legacy.
Gotcha.
Modern's like the past 2-3 years of cards, so it's still really strong, but it's not Legacy where you can do a turn 0 win. Yes, it is possible in Magic to win before the game even starts.
Or if you're playing with me, you can lose it before it starts.
Yes.
You
can lose it before the game starts.
I can lose it for everyone. Yes. Yes. When we played, what was that called? Two-Headed Giant.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. These people were so into it. They were so excited. And there was not a person in that card shop that was ignorant as I. And I revealed it early and often.
And I revealed my ignorance about Two-Headed Giant when it was Two-Headed Giant sealed. Turns out you can share cards between you and your partner.
Oh.
I did not realize that.
He could have gone through my cards and said, no.
Well,
don't do that. Take this.
I did that. I helped you build your deck, but I didn't go through my cards until you get rid of this for my card.
Right.
The second we did that, immediately our decks became stronger. I think we won a game.
I think we did.
Lost the war.
But that could be hubris on my part.
I would like to pretend we didn't go 0-6.
Oh man, it was sad. It was sad, but that's all right. Yeah. Now, if you look at Magic the Gathering as like a pay-to-play kind of thing, like okay, so like Daniel and I were talking last weekend that the price of a movie is a good investment because you're paying like $8 an hour for the play. Is Magic a good investment in that way?
Ooh, over the very long term, it definitely could be. The issue with Magic is what you are playing it for and who you are playing it with. If you are going to say that the dozens of hours that you're spending building the deck are a part of your enjoyment and all of the research that you do goes into the time commitment, then yes, that could definitely be a worthwhile money in, fun out venture. But if you are not the kind of person to get obsessed with the research of the card game, which luckily people that are into card games usually are obsessed with the research of the card game.
You're right.
If you are a spike and you just want to play and win consistently forever, it just becomes wildly expensive. And if the only thing that you are trying to do is pay to actually perform the play of the game, it's not going to be a movie level money in, fun out.
Well, you can technically also go to tournaments and stuff like that. So there's all the local card games, but they also have national tournaments as well. And I believe they also have like a world championship.
Yeah, there's definitely a Magic Worlds.
Yeah.
But you have a huge investment to get there, so it better be pretty stinking fun.
Well, there are some cheap decks occasionally. So, for example, there was a Pokemon deck called Night March, which used a whole bunch of really cheap Pokemon cards and like just a couple of expensive ones, just to like round it all out. And it won Pokemon Worlds.
So
okay,
it is definitely possible for, like, in a given rotation to have a
But it's not
cheap,
consistent.
really good deck, but yeah, it's highly inconsistent, especially because if it's good, that is where the monetary value generally comes from.
And there are other formats of it, like there's Pauper, and I believe in Pauper you can only have one gold card in your deck, and everything else has to be silver or below.
Oh, I kind of like that.
That is a cheap version of the game, but it's not necessarily a...
It sounds great in theory, but what ends up happening is you remove a lot of what I like out of Magic, and that's the complex interactions.
Oh, right, because you play with you, and you chain every single card together in every game you play. Yes, I use the entire 16 cards that are in my hand every turn. And lose.
See, that's what I realized is part of my problem is that I deck build like a Johnny, but play like a Spike. Doesn't go too well because I like these massive combos, but they only work like every 6 games or so.
So, John, why don't you describe the different players of Magic? Johnny, Spike, and what's the third one?
Timmy. So, our Uncle Larry, he is the biggest Timmy player.
Mm-hmm.
You give him a big ass card that has big numbers on it. He loves it. It's a huge dragon. How can this be bad? No, seriously, that card's awful. I don't care. I'm going to use it anyway. That is Timmy. Timmy plays to use the biggest, best card ever.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you win the game.
Right. He shoots the moon every time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Play. Right. Okay.
When we play Hearts, yes. I tend to deck build like a Johnny, where I see lots of combinations of cards and go like, oh, if I do this and this and this, but they tend to be very specific things. You can do something really cool, like, oh, I have 1,000,000 cards out on the field at once, and they all have 1,000,000 attack and 1,000,000 defense, but I would still lose the game to a lightning bolt because it took too long for that to happen.
Right. Right.
And then Spike is red aggro, red black, Rakdos kill deck. Win by turn 4. Your only goal as a Spike is to win.
Nice.
Okay.
So I like to play as a Spike, but I find that Spike decks tend to be relatively boring. Every once in a while, you see a cool one.
Says the man who that was Vexing
Devils,
cool Blood Artists.
Blood Artist was part of the reason why I love that deck. Whenever your creature died, it dealt 1 damage to the opponent and healed you for 1.
It's a really cool card, but I hate you.
There was a time where I had a guy called Jarl's Messenger out on the field. He was at like 2/2, 3/3. It was a 3/3. And when it dies, it comes back and deals 2 damage to the opponent. And I had 2 Blood Artists out on the field. I had a 3 damage card in my hand, with my opponent having 4 health. So instead of bolting him, I bolted my own Jarl's Messenger and killed him.
Oh, that's more fun.
Exactly. They had that really cool bit of interaction within itself.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but playing Vexing Devil, Vexing Devil, Vexing Devil, Vexing Devil, it gets vexing.
It's actually really bad, though.
I recognize that that is a bad hand to have played, but it makes
It was
me
so
angry
satisfying.
inside.
I played.
I am salt.
So you've played Magic before, well. Vexing Devil was a 1 mana cost 4/3, so huge stat baseline.
Yes,
But
that face is correct.
but
Oh.
but when it came out, it had the ability for when when it comes out onto the field, your opponent can pay 4 life and force its owner to sacrifice it. So by turn 2, Dan had lost 12 life,
Aw,
Yeah.
that's not nice.
but I had
And
nothing on the
then
board.
and then there were a couple of bolts in John's hands, and he just burned me from there using direct
Aw,
damage.
that's
He
not
did that like 4 or
nice.
5 times, I believe. We played like 6 games and I won 1
But your
with
deck sucked.
yes. Now, admittedly, John built both of these decks, and so
But
I
yeah, one of
had
them I built when I was like 10, if that. And the
Right,
other one I
right.
built when I was 20.
yeah. So the one was a human mid-range deck with a whole bunch of interactions for these people are humans. Give them weapons that humans like, and they can do things. But it takes like 5 turns to set up. And so when John was playing a spike deck that kills you by turn 4, you never see turn 5.
If Crawler. It's that deck.
So, Mom, what kind of player do you think you are?
Okay, so I'm listening to that description, right?
Yes.
And I'm the player who will do anything so that the game keeps going. So not Spike.
Timmy.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
playing.
Hold on. Yeah, I like playing. And wait a minute, I have something to show you.
Oh?
If I can just get my phone. Okay, so I used to laugh at all these old people who couldn't work their phones, and now I is them. Oh, God, it's terrible. It is terrible.
It's too much
It
Pokemon
is not.
Go.
It is not.
You and your damn video games are slowing down your phone.
Well, no, it's really.
No.
No.
Oh, okay. You like that?
I'm
I'm like,
talking to you as if I'm a parent now.
well,
This
there
RuneScape that
you
you're
are.
playing is giving us viruses.
Here we
What?
go. There we go. I am Timmy. That
Eh,
makes me so happy.
So, Mom,
Aww.
if you could shift that closer to where your face is, where you are
Yeah.
currently standing,
Front
I can only
center.
see half
Oh,
of it.
okay. If I did
Yes.
that.
There you
Yes, there
go.
we go.
Cover your face. No one wants to see it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So you guys spent your entire childhood talking about Blue Eyes White Dragon and Lugia. That was
Yes.
it. That was my
I
takeaway from
liked
your
Ho-Oh
childhood.
more,
And
but
now I
Lugia was
have.
better.
And what?
I liked Ho-Oh more, but Lugia was better.
You never said. I mean, you didn't
Did I?
argue about that when I could hear.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever heard you said ho ho.
Ho-Oh.
Yes.
H-O-O-H.
Okay.
It's kind of funny though, because in the dubs they pronounced it ho-ho, and that always pissed me off to no end. It's not spelled ho-ho, it's spelled ho-oh.
It's almost ho ho in kioma.
Hell,
So what was
God.
interesting? I asked Oma the same question we talked about last week about what was the main character, the protagonist that really got you and that you liked the best and everything.
Yes.
And she didn't have one.
That's a bit surprising to me.
Right. She says, I don't get wrapped up in the story. I read the story, it's a story, I close the book, and I'm done with it.
Gosh, Oma, you are so boring.
I think part of it is she might not read series.
The way that we buy in.
And because we tend to go for longer running books, not just a book, but multiple.
Right. Right.
Wheel of Time. Stormlight Harry Potter.
Although,
Sorry.
surprisingly, none of us have read Game of Thrones, to the best of my knowledge.
Oh, I don't like it. I
No,
started
there's-
it like 4 times. I don't like it at all. Mm.
So
Mm.
Dan, have you read Lord of the Rings?
I got into the Two Towers, and I just kind of beat my head against the wall saying, "What is happening? This is so boring.
The Battle
Oh,
of Helm's Deep
God,
is like 2
why?"
paragraphs long.
Did you die on that hill?
Yeah, I have to admit, I am not a big fan of Tolkien. Like, all of the work that was inspired by Tolkien is fantastic, but, and I'm, like, talking about the movies. I love the movies for The Lord of the Rings, but trying to read actual Tolkien,
Read the Council of Elrond.
it's so boring and long and long and boring.
Get to the
Oh,
point.
It's like reading if you read H.G. Wells.
and I don't read H.G. Wells.
I
Or
read H.G. Wells.
E. Doc Smith. You read them, and they are, for the time, they're written appropriately. The verbiage and the descriptions and the whatever is correct for the time. But like, so I'm rereading Words of Radiance right now, and
Favorite book?
it's your favorite one
Yes.
out of the 3?
Out of all,
Absolute favorite.
absolute favorite book.
Really? Hold
Yes.
on. I'm gonna. Why?
What?
No,
No.
it's not that I dislike it, but it's like Shallan's backstory,
Mm-hmm.
like Dalinor's backstory.
Mhm.
And like, oh my god, and like what's his name?
Kaladin's.
Kaladin's backstory. All of them.
That's why they're chosen as Radiants. Is because they're broken people. They have to have something bad in their past that helps break their identity so they can form the Nihil bond.
Yes, but okay. So what I'm like, okay, let me go back. Okay.
All right.
I'm really into. Okay, so like when in going back and rereading, and then when Hoyd comes into Shallan's backstory,
Mm-hmm.
and they're at the fair and all that stuff is
Yes.
going on. Okay, that part I like because he was dropping other things into there. But when all you're saying is her childhood sucked, but you go back to it 15 times. I believed you at time like 5. I was good there. I could.
Well, because it's not
do
just
that.
developing her backstory. It's developing her whole family's backstory. You know, the characters we haven't seen since book 1?
Well, I mean,
When was the last
the
time we
end
saw
of
her
Oathbringer.
brothers?
They're there in the end of Oathbringer.
Alright, I need to reread Oathbringer. But exactly, it's trying to build up characterization for characters that aren't there.
Mhm.
How do you build up characterization for people that might potentially be important to the plot?
Might
So
have
Shallan gets
already been
manipulated.
killed.
Well, but like I really enjoy the Bridgemen.
Yes.
They
Oh,
are
they're
unique
fantastic.
characters. They're just
Oh, yeah.
you want to go hang out with them. But Shallan's brothers, one pulls the claws off of Kremlings. One, they each have this just horrible character trait, and that's the only thing that's in the stories. That's it.
Fair.
One likes math and one likes girls. Woo. Other than that, anyway, sorry. I digressed.
So, Mom.
And part of it's torture porn.
Yes.
Because
So,
when she
going back
86 is her
to-
father.
I missed all of that.
So it's torture porn. So when she goes back and 86 is her father
Oh,
with the necklace
torture
he gave
porn.
her,
Yeah.
it just made that scene so much more powerful.
So
Okay.
this might be a generational gap when we're talking about bringing down the establishment, because like attacking your father to your generation was fratricide and was a highly negative. What?
Patricide.
Patricide.
Fratricide is when you kill that guy next to you.
Patricide. Thank you. Yes, John, you are next. So.
Actually, if you kill me, that'd technically be regicide.
Oh, God. That was good. Okay,
So your generation, patricide and regicide is a negative thing that causes the decay of the kingdom. That's what happens in all of your books. In all of our books, patricide and regicide leads to the rise of the kingdom and is the positive aspect that happens within our stories.
I can't tell you how many times I've read stories where the king's a douche or actively killing people.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so name some of those books, Daniel.
Okay, Sword of Truth. It's not necessarily the best
And then
thing.
Richard becomes the asshole.
Yes, and needs to be regicide himself.
And Richard and Hero.
Yes. Okay, so let's then look at Harry Potter, fourth Harry Potter book. Very easy citing of it when we look at Dolores Umbridge. She is not necessarily fifth book. I don't care about Harry Potter, actually. Anyways.
Yeah, but you could have used a book 4 too.
What happens in book 4 that he...
Oh,
the Triwizard Tournament when Voldemort returns and the Minister of Magic says, no, he didn't.
Yes.
Absolutely downplaying the truth of the matter. So he is now the bad guy.
Yes.
In some way, he is just as bad as Voldemort for denying the evil that's happening.
Almost
Because he could have stopped it. Or at least done something to attempt to stop it, but did nothing.
So if you look at almost every single major villain within young fiction and modern fiction nowadays, it has moved past just being in young adult books and into the general scope of fantasy. Your power structures are the evil, and they just have a leader that represents why the power structure is the evil.
You are right. Wow, I need to leave you all and go down and go through all my books. I'm thinking of the Powder Mage series.
Okay. Yes.
And
first book of that. I need to read more.
I can't.
I do too.
But that okay. All right, I understand what you're saying. And so what's irritating me is I'm an old fart as far as this goes.
Yes.
Consider the
foundation. Consider the Foundation trilogies, Mom. Who is the bad guy in this? It is the guy who is attempting to rewrite history for his own goals. We have the good guys, which are the Foundation, that are trying to, as the shadow government, rewrite the psychology of the universe in order to avert these major catastrophes. They are the good guys. They are the authority. And as soon as we have the mule, I think his name is, enter into the picture, the one who is attempting to co-opt all of the psychic history that they have created, there's the bad guy. He's trying to steal what the establishment has been building.
So to put it a little more simply, the threat is not as external as it is internal.
Yeah, that is fascinating, and it feels like it's an outgrowth of World War II. You know, because the books that I read growing up, those people all fought in World War II, and they had to believe, like Granddad was told that they would go back to the islands and dig up all the bodies that they had shoveled into mass graves, the Japanese and the Americans together, that he had a real problem with. You had to believe that because you were there, you were in there, you couldn't do anything about it. So you had, okay, all right, I'll go there. I mean,
well, because
it's simplistic right now, but
the Japanese and Nazis make such easy pickings for coming up with an external threat. I mean, shit, Nazis are still used to this day. Probably because they wore Hugo Boss and loved snazzy. They look snazzy while being absolute bastards. It's impressive.
Which is also a major thing within the American ideal of what an evil person is, because we still have the idea that the Brits are, to some extent, evil, because we revolted against them. We revolted against the prim and proper peoples that imposed the taxes upon us, and so we can take that idea of good looking as both a positive for us and a negative for other people. When we are good looking, it is rugged, manly, and interesting. Whereas when our enemies are good looking, it's because they are insightful and deceitful and trying to worm their way into your good graces so that they can then steal from you.
Wow. Okay. I need a brain break now. I got like steam. Okay.
Would you like to move on to my next very stupid topic?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love gloves, but they are actively awful.
Okay. What happened that incited this topic idea?
Just trying to do anything outside or anything mildly dexterous while wearing gloves. So, if you guys couldn't tell, I've been sick this week. I have had a mild cold, and it's been keeping me very stuffed up, and so unable to record anything. So, I got a bottle of cold medicine, and I'm trying to open the thing with gloves on. Takes me like 5 minutes to try and actually get it open. Then I also got some multivitamins.
Hold on. We need to take a step back for a second. Why are you trying to open up cold medicine with gloves on?
Because I was outside. I had just bought it, and I'm like, I want this now.
Wow.
He said,
I
want to fall
my brother
asleep
was
before I
that
get
much of a drug addict. I mean, seriously, you look like a meth head if you're chugging NyQuil in the parking lot.
Revealing his true secret identity.
Hey, Dan, do we need to stage an intervention?
No.
Is the reason why you played
back your ass up?
Is it probably why you're so good at Beat Saber? Because you're all hopped up on meth?
No, don't worry about it. There's nothing of the sort.
I can't believe I didn't get to play it once.
Seriously, how did you mess that one up?
She was still hyped up on the idea of Super Broly. So my mom came down to my apartment last weekend, and we went to go see Dragon Ball Super Broly. And just I want the 56-year-old's opinion on it. I'm an idiot. Don't worry about me.
You fucked up the first rule when guessing a woman's age.
Go low.
Low.
42. That's what it is. She's 42.
No, she's 35.
Yeah, I don't think I can get away with that right now.
I'm pretty sure you're actually 18. That has some horrifying implications.
She still had that air when she was 42, so there's that.
There we go.
Except hers was longer at the time.
Okay, so that movie was some weird movie. I mean, it was beautiful and gorgeous and had like 50 different art styles for the fight scenes. You know, when they kept changing hair color and they do their things. But it was, okay, here's my real problem.
Yes.
So we went to one of the rave theaters, which has the seats that are
stadium seating?
Excessive.
No, electric seats. So your legs come up, but there's nowhere to put your coat. So you're sitting in a chair because your feet don't hit the ground. You got to put the legs up no matter what. And then it's big, and you got your coat right there. And what do you want to do? You tell me. It's warm and cozy, and it's dark. You go to sleep.
See, I don't have that problem.
Oh, no. You're wrong.
And see, I have trouble sleeping at places that aren't my own bed.
Oh,
Interesting.
So here
Though,
we're in the middle of an hour-long fight, and I'm falling asleep.
the Kiritoriyama doesn't do it for you?
Oh, I got a spit take.
Don't die.
That's my first spit take in forever.
Oh, wow.
At best. I will be back. Y'all entertain yourselves. Whoa!
That is some next level right there. It's like, it wasn't just like him doing that. That just like came out. No, I just put that in a drinking stream.
So that is my favorite episode of television ever done. With Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. They did an entire show that was about spit takes. An hour of spit takes. It was the best show ever. You know, it was like perfectly my level of humor.
Oh my god. So it just reminded me of President Obama, love him, hate him, whatever. I still have to respect him in some ways. So he was at like a rally or something, and they had audience participation, and they had to ask him, or they got the chance to ask him questions. So Obama's reaching for his water, takes a sip, and this guy's like, hello, my name is Dick Sweat. Phone, please. No spit take.
No.
And the guy's actual name was Richard Sweat.
Oh, God.
That was probably one of the most impressive things I've ever seen.
Talk about though.
And Dan, we're talking about how you're inferior to President Obama.
I'm not dead yet.
You should have been wearing that shirt instead.
Bloody ashes.
I don't think I have that shirt.
So Dan,
Yes.
After the podcast, are you ready to come out of the closet?
Yes, I will be. I will also be searching for a air purifier for the closet because it gets dusty in here.
Is that why you almost aspirated your drink?
Yes. Also why I have a water bottle here. That was unfortunate.
That was impressive. It honestly kind of looked like you were throwing up on yourself.
I was doing my absolute best to not.
Just let it all out, man. Get it out of your
Not onto carpet. I don't have spot shot.
It's water. You take a paper towel.
No, I was about to actually throw up, though.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
That would have made this first podcast so much more exciting.
It's a pretty high bar, though.
Hey, guys, you get to see A, Miandis' face for the first time, and B, you get to see him sick as a dog. Yay!
You know the puking dragon? We have the puking Daniel.
Oh my goodness. That is possibly my favorite my favorite thing I own.
So you should go get that prop right now. Well, we describe it.
Yes.
So the puking dragon is a beer can with a dragon on the top, where its mouth opens up. So when you pour beer out of it, the beer comes out of the dragon's mouth.
It is awesome. It's pewter, I believe, and so it actually...
It's
no, 10, whatever.
Or like
I know that we do have pewter mugs back at the parents' place, and so that might have been one of them. Anyways.
Pewter mug.
Nice.
I think so. I definitely have like a ceramic thing. I just keep it out for display.
That's a pretty mug.
Yeah.
Where'd you pick it up?
Bethany got it for me from Germany.
Nice.
And you know, there's always the thing of throwing out all this stuff your exes gave to you. I personally, we had already broken up by the time she gave this to me, so I have no personal attachment from this to her.
Why did she give it to you, I guess?
I mean, she came back, she visited me for like 5 minutes, gave me a couple things, and then went on her way.
Okay, good enough.
I was just like, oh, I'm not gonna say no to this mug because this thing's cool.
Yeah,
I
that
never
is a
use
nice
it because it's so narrow.
Ooh,
It'd be a pain. I can't fit my hand in it, so it'd be a pain in the ass to clean it out.
oh yeah.
And if you've seen what comes out of my dishwasher, I have very hard water, so
Uh-huh.
cleaning.
Scum.
No, 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 no. This is actually from the water. I've run that dishwasher without any soap at all in it, and I still end up with that like white.
It looks worse.
Yes, it does. I put it in looking
That's
clean, and it comes out looking nasty.
that's unfortunate.
Okay.
Ew.
There was a little bit left from aspiration.
So, puking dragon or ceramic?
I can't find it.
What?
Trunk.
No, I know. Okay, I went through
Check
the
the liquor
trunk.
drawer.
It should be.
I kind of wish I was there because I
Yes.
think we would probably be able to find it real fast.
Because I'm fairly certain that it's in the cavity above the liquor
Yeah,
cabinet.
there's like 4 cabinets to search. Because it used to be hanging out like on that shelf. And
Uh-huh.
it got put away for some reason. So, I don't know. This has like a nice little weight to it.
Oh.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
Pump those games.
You are pumping more iron from just your blood than anything else at that moment.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah, puking dragon.
Bring it over. There we go. A little bit further that way.
Oh, it's Kieran Ichiban.
It's kidding.
Yeah.
So this was one of the most fun nights I've ever had in my life. We were in Hong Kong, and we were with a guy who was a Guamanian guy, and this guy was. So I don't know if you know much about like the islanders, but like if you think about where was To'ale from? What's the other islands around there?
Samoa.
Samoans are like really tall and really big.
Yeah.
Okay, Guamanians are a little bit shorter and really big. So
Okay.
this guy was so he was in the military, so he had to finish. He had to do the PT test and everything. He's the biggest guy I've ever seen, and he blah, 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 blah. and we went to Hong Kong to pick up my wedding dress because my wedding dress had been ordered. We lived in the Philippines, so we went there to pick it up. I wouldn't say we laid on a special flight just for my wedding dress, but maybe. Your tax dollars at work. Right. But we went to the night market, and the night market was a place where it was all these outdoor vendors and every kind of food you could imagine on the biggest food court you've ever seen. And it was when, in the States, we didn't have that kind of thing. So it was like, it was amazing. And he got one of those snow crabs that are like, this big.
Oh, Jesus.
Tony ordered everything. We had chicken and beef and noodles and rice and pot stickers, you name it, anything you can think of. It was sitting on the table, and there were 4 of us.
So you were in Hong Kong,
probably
right?
10 or 12 dishes, and we all had our puking dragons, and we were drinking beer all night. I had the biggest food hangover I've ever had. My stomach was like...
It wasn't just a food hangover. It was a hangover as well.
Well, it was a hangover, but that goes away.
Oh dear, the food one stuck around.
Was worse. I have never been so sick in my life, and it was so much fun.
Wish you could do it again.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. And I had this huge I'm like coming home with, I've got to go try on my wedding dress the next day, and I can barely stand up.
Why does the wedding dress no longer fit around the stomach?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
I managed to do that to myself in one night.
Oh my goodness. People like that are they're like, you know how you have some people that are just, they live so large, you wonder how they're still alive.
Yes.
Because that was not his only time. That's how he
Nice.
was all the time. And I don't understand how you can do that.
It was like when I went to Beijing, every restaurant we went to, Chilin would order like 4 or 5 dishes for the two of us. She's just insane. Like, she'd be like, I want some this, and this. And, John, what looks good to you? This thing looks kind of good. I'd always end up picking out the best thing.
Yeah, right? Now, did she eat it all?
I mean, I ate almost, yeah, I ate it all.
So maybe she was right.
Or no, we wouldn't eat all the food. I thought you were asking,
Okay.
like, hey, did she order some weird Chinese shit that you wouldn't even touch?
Oh, not did you
Pig
try it?
face.
Like,
Eat it all.
duck tongue
Nice.
was the one that really stuck out to me because where it was me, Jilin, and Dad when he had met up with us in Beijing, which is really cool, by the way. So we went to this restaurant, and to get to the restaurant, it's like this small little building. You actually take an elevator to go down into the basement.
Oh.
So we go down into the basement and get on the waiting list, and so we're in the restaurant, and apparently a floor show starts. So there's like the Chinese face changing thing. Then he did a whole bunch of like the standard every magician you've ever seen ever tricks, where he would like take the 3 different length ropes and all that.
Oh, right.
Getting the rings interlocked and taking them apart, all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, we're going through the menu, and Dad and I are looking at each other going, what are we going to eat here? It's just filled with some like the weirdest shit ever. And by duck tongue, I mean a platter filled with severed duck tongues.
Nice.
It still looked like tongues. It's not they cut them up into like steaks or anything like that. No, they were just cooked duck tongues. We managed to get a bunch of good stuff.
Well, were you just gonna throw them away? So what did the duck tongue tell me texturally?
We didn't order them. I just looked at them.
You saw them.
Yeah, no, going through the menu, like, I think it was like sea sponge or sea cucumber was on there.
The cucumber, absolutely.
Or sea cucumber, yeah, not sea urchin. Sea urchins, I don't think we're on that. No umi. But yeah, just going through that menu as a pure red-blooded American, there's got to be something in here that's edible for me.
Peking duck.
Yes, best duck I've ever had.
He just had some 2 days ago. Yeah.
I'm jealous.
So, Mom, do you have a topic for us?
Okay. Yeah. I have several, but
Oh damn.
okay. I'm in between 2. Okay, tattoos, a permanent reminder of a temporary feeling, or a good feeling. Yeah, I like that one better.
Okay.
All right, so we're going all Jimmy Buffett.
Well, it was funny.
From the area.
I had a young student this week, and she has a very specific realm of study, and she had some tattoos that pertained to that realm of study. Yeah. And she's 23, and she's decided she's not really sure she wants to work in the field that she. And
just because you don't want to work in the field doesn't mean you don't enjoy the topic.
Right. So that's what I was going to say.
I love video games. I like them a lot, but never do I want to work in the video game industry.
Yeah, it's kind of shit.
But I want you to think about, okay, when you had the argument about the best thing, and you said yours was hot ho-ho?
Ho-hoing Kioma.
No, ho-oh.
Oh, ho-oh.
It's Ho-oh.
Ho-oh. Got it.
Yes.
If you had a tattoo of ho-oh right now.
Yes.
Okay, now you're still like, I could be in that mindset. Okay, now I want you to think.
Yes.
When you're 60.
Yes.
Are you still gonna want the same tattoo you wanted when you were 10?
Potentially. I've had the idea since like senior year of high school of getting an Ouroboros tattoo around my bicep.
Right?
Well, not bicep, like a little above it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
But of
your
course,
father would kill you.
Yes.
He cut
I
the
have
arm.
things I would. I think I have things I'd like to inherit.
So I guess we should start off this discussion with the way that John and I were raised to view tattoos. They are, I hate to say it this way, but they are for lower class citizens. We were told basically from day one that officers do not get tattoos. And I should point out that both my mom and dad are naval officers.
Go Navy!
Great Army. And so when my dad talks about tattoos, he views enlisted men. And so when he was raising us, he raised us to have the ideology that we could become officers. And so the idea of getting a tattoo would be paramount to saying, I can no longer be an officer, I am only worthy of being an enlisted man. And so there is a heavy negative stigma within our upbringing about tattoos.
See, for me personally, the actual reason why I don't have any is because my habits and interests jump around a lot. I'd run out
Uh-huh.
of skin space
Oh,
because
And a bank account.
I still kind of like all the things that I've liked previously. There's a reason why I
Uh-huh.
liked them. Like, so for an example of probably something that I'm not a huge fan of, Disturbed. I used to love them. They were my introduction into metal music. But now I listen to them like once every 2 or 3 years. Just go like, yeah, a little bit of nostalgia. I'm good.
Uh-huh.
But if I had a Disturbed tattoo, I don't think I would really care that much. Like at some point, like unless something horrific happens, like all the people that got tattoos of the band ISIS,
Yes.
that's rather unfortunate.
And
ignorant.
ISIS, the
so,
terrorist group?
Oh God.
yes.
Oh, I
Imagine
thought
if
someone
you liked
band.
a band named ISIS, put it
Yes.
across your chest,
Oh,
and then
oh, oh.
ISIS happens in the Middle East. What's up with that? That would
Right.
be truly horrific.
The show Archer had to completely go off the rails because their spy agency name was ISIS.
Oh. Okay. All
And
right.
Yeah.
terrorist group came around, so instead they're like, no, the new direction is we're going to smuggle cocaine. Why?
So,
Because this MacGuffin was hidden behind a painting that's apparently like 1,000,000 pounds of cocaine. Why did we have it there? It's never going to be explained.
yes.
Right. ISIS.
So, getting back to tattoos, I don't think that there would necessarily be an issue with getting a tattoo, aside from the idea of it's painful to get one, and I don't feel like sitting through a couple hours of getting stabbed just to have something.
Pussy.
Yes. But
What did
aside
you say?
Nothing.
So, aside from that, I don't want there to be a negative stigma around me, even if there is a very easy place to cover it up. Like, say, the shoulder blade, or somewhere on my back or upper thigh. Someplace
Or
that is,
ass.
yes, someplace that is very easy and will always be covered up.
Wait
It
a
will
minute.
still be, yes.
Are you not going to wear your assless chaps anymore?
Most likely not. I'm trading it in for the bunny suit.
Oh, okay.
This
Yes,
better
John.
be a Hugh Hefner style bunny suit. And to give an example of why it better be, let's
Yes. So
get a
for
bit
Christmas,
more
I
visual.
got John a very nice present that he has been wearing almost constantly for the past.
I need a cigar or a pipe. And I still have some bourbon left. If I had a cigar, definitely a cigar in one hand, glass of bourbon in the other.
You're good.
Yes, excellent. And yeah, I'm gonna keep wearing this. It's cold in my place for some reason. Like, I swear, I have the most inconsistent AC heater imaginable. There are days it'll say, "Oh, it's 74," and I have it on cooling. Like in the middle of the summer, I'll have it on cooling, set it to 74, and it's still like 80 in my place.
Right.
And then
Right,
right now,
right.
I have it set to like 75 and heating, and it's like 60. All right, so not that cold.
Not 60. I know you.
But 65.
I'm exaggerating.
Yes.
Hyperbole for effect. Basically, it's on heating and it'll still blow out cold air.
Nice.
You stand over it, put your hand over the air, and it's colder than room temperature.
So,
and you pay for it.
the idea of would you be negative towards the tattoo that you got 10 years ago? I don't think I would. I think that at worst it would be, yeah, I don't really like this thing anymore, but I still have the nostalgia for when I did like it. And at best, hey, this thing is awesome. But the reason why I'm probably never going to get a tattoo is that I have my dad's social conditioning in the back of my head that goes, I don't want someone to see my tattoo.
On top of being a massive coward.
So...
Oh no, a little bit of temporary pain.
Yeah, I just no. For me though, really, the reason why I say this is I mean, I've changed a lot. The things that were really important when you guys were young, like I changed my mind about. You know, when
Yeah.
we left the military, I really believe. I'm going to give an easy example, not one that would be skin art, but I believed in capital punishment. And I completely changed my mind 1000% because I looked into the statistics and the recidivism rate and those kind of things. I have thought so many things that were wrong in my life. Can't imagine wanting to have something, you know.
So
from
the question is whether or not your tattoo would be something that is meaningful or fun.
Or artful.
Yes. Like for myself and John, I think that if we got a tattoo, it would mostly be for the aesthetics and the art of it. I particularly don't have any symbology that is wildly meaningful to me. Like, even though I am Catholic, the cross does not hold power over me, is what I would say. And so it is not the kind of symbol that I don't wear a rosary, we'll put it that way, and extend that idea to tattoo.
Just your word choice is
I recognize.
fantastic.
Yes.
Doesn't hold power over me. You
Some
have
people,
no power.
the thing is that I have hung out with enough crazy Catholics that just seeing a cross in nature, they will go, "Oh, God is in this place." Yeah, no shit, God's in every place. If you are Catholic, you believe that God is literally everywhere. If you're saying he's more here than somewhere else, I'm sorry, but you don't understand your faith.
Oh, okay. My favorite one though was Dad's buddy Pete.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were on an aircraft carrier, which means you're out at sea. You get beautiful sea and sky all the time. And you know when you have those big clouds and you get a little break in the clouds and a ray of light comes through?
Uh-huh.
He always says, "That's a miracle. That's a miracle." You're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
That happens all the time.
That made me so happy.
Now, if you saw some ball lightning to go with it, then we'll start talking.
Oh, I want to see that.
Yes.
Ball lightning?
I would love to see
Dan,
a video of ball lightning, but I never want to see it in real life.
I was about to
Shit
say, ball lightning.
Terrifying.
Yeah, no, if that shit like comes at you, because we don't know what causes it, we don't know how it acts. So if you have just a giant ball of lightning coming at you,
That's horrific.
No, I want to see it.
I,
Sorry, guys.
I can
So
find
the difference-
videos of it.
Mom is ready for death. That's what we have just found out.
I mean, she already came up to us and went like, "Hey, do you want the house when we die?" And I told you, I've since changed my mind. Yes. I would appreciate.
We have been recording for an hour and 2 minutes roundabouts. Would you like to move over to the products for the week?
All right, so the theme of this week is pretentious products.
Nice.
All of these I can see you buying if you have a stick up your ass. So
Let's,
naturally, I can see buying all of them.
Let's describe what you're doing. Like, these are not sponsored at all. This is just random stuff that John finds on the internet.
Yes.
And
So again, this is just random stuff I find. Someone, please sponsor us. Hint, hint, wink, wink, and a nudge. Not as good as going to a blind bat. All right. So the first product I have is, we're starting off mild. It's mildly pretentious. If you see some jackass in the office with this on his desk, it is a top that spins for 4+ hours.
So this is
Mildly
literally
pretentious. It's kind of like the equivalent of those, I think, Newton balls? Where it's a set of balls and you pick up
Newton's
one.
cradle.
Newton's cradle, thank you. I forgot the name of it.
Newton's balls. No, those are in the ground.
I'm pretty sure they've decayed and gone. So next one. So before the podcast, I was pulling up these products, and I had noticed on my search bar I saw fecal matter. It's like triple checking. Did I just read fecal matter? Yes, I did. This is the high art version of pretentious.
And you're going to have to describe it.
So those are skin-colored, skin-shaped, natural-looking high heels. And
this is terrifying.
I could see someone very pretentious in France wearing them.
Oh Jesus. That is scary.
Oh.
We need to have a link of this in the description so that people can see just how terrifying these stilettos are.
That is creepy.
Fantastic. I like the little ankle horn? Ankle spike? It reminds me of something from...
Thorn? It looks just like a rose thorn, but skin-colored coming out of your ankle.
And like 3 inches.
Yeah.
Skin thorn coming out of your ankle. Ooh. Okay. Moving on.
Terrifying.
What I think is hilarious though is you've got different areas of pretension so far. You have like, I'm so scientifically pretentious, and then I'm so
artistically
pretentious. There we go. Okay.
And then we'll go into one that I'm probably actually going to buy right after this.
Because you are a pretentious asshole.
Yes.
Look at the robe.
Yes. This is apparently the world's softest blanket.
Okay, that one did not come up for me. It only came up as a link.
Well.
So it's just a blanket.
We will provide links to all of these things.
Yes.
What is it made
of?
Faux fur. Chan Asya faux fur throw blanket. Super soft, fuzzy, lightweight, luxurious, cozy, warm, fluffy, plush, hypoallergenic blanket for bed, couch, chair, fall, winter, spring, living room, 50 inches by 65 inches, dark gray. They just put all of the possible buzzwords. This is not even a product name. What is this garbage?
Word salad.
Yes. No, this is word search.
This is
awesome.
search term optimization.
Yes.
Yes.
And it comes in many different colors.
Daniel, I so want you to read my obit. That was great. when you read that, I'm going, I wanted him to describe me that way because he sounded like so like something you wanted, even though it was terrible.
This is baffling. But yes, I kind of want it.
Exactly.
It looks amazing.
I kind of need to replace God's beard.
How much
So
is it?
It is
it's
$30
like $30
with free shipping.
Oh, get two, they're small.
All right.
You can get larger ones, and they do go up in price, as one might imagine. But not by much. It's like $2 for every size up.
King size is $60.
Oh. I didn't click on king size.
Way to go.
All
right.
You have
Final one. The final one is very technologically pretentious, and you can automatically assume anyone that has this is immediately a jackass.
Good.
It is the Glance Clock Smart Notification Wall Clock for calendar, events, timers, weather, and IFTTT alerts. Android, iOS, smartphones. And it comes in two colors, graphite and silver.
Okay, wait a minute. No. As someone who doesn't show up to things, why is that pretentious?
Because this is a clock where on the clock itself, on the clock face, it lights up your timings for everything. So that means not only do you have to have bought the clock, you have to set up everything for the clock to actually have those times on it. And their examples are lunch, sleep, dinner.
So, I would also like to point out that there's only one review on it, and it's a 1-star review. So, this individual states, fails to deliver on any of the claims. Only 3 apps, poor usability, and limited functionality of the app. Ultimately, will return it because it won't sync with my Google Calendar. Isn't your calendar kind of the point of a product like this? Old browser version of the app, filed a ticket, heard back next day from customer care saying would inform dev. A day later, nothing from the dev team.
That is funny. Those are the people who I'm
Working in dev, yes, I can see not replying for a day. Shut up! Forgive me, tickets!
But just considering the fact that there's only one customer review, makes me assume that they don't get many tickets.
You can have a step counter on it. Sleep timers, temperature, it's just absolutely pretentious.
So what you want to do is just put your phone up on the wall. Just take it and just go up on the wall.
And the other issue, for me at least, is the fact that it doesn't actually have the numbers on the clock. And so it has the little dashes for each of the hours.
Upside down?
Yeah. And so it is so unusable in the basic idea of what a clock is supposed to be. And that's why I think it's upsetting.
You not read a
analog
clock?
I can read an analog clock, but it takes me a couple seconds to figure it out when I don't have the numbers on it. If I have the numbers on it, I can very quickly understand it. But just looking at hour position, minute position, that takes me a while. And so if a clock takes me more than a second to look at it and say, hey, I know what time it is, it's a bad clock.
That is not true at all. If a clock keeps its time right, if the clock does not keep its time right, then it's a bad clock.
Oh, no, John, what is the purpose of the clock is not to keep time. The purpose of the clock is to tell you what time it is.
Which is the exact same thing.
No, it is not.
Having had a clock that specifically dies every single night. Remember that fake Rolex that he I could reset that fucking thing every single day. Therefore, that is a shitty clock. You cannot go below that.
I assume
it manages to keep its time well. You're able to read it at all. It's a decent clock. You can
I
always
assume
go
at a
lower.
base that it's able to keep its time. Actually, I don't even assume that because my car
No.
clock doesn't keep time, but it's
You should.
usable to me because I understand how far away it is from the actual time, and I can do that kind of mental math quickly. It only takes me a
You should
glance
not
to know when it is, and so even though it doesn't tell the time correctly, it's still good.
never assume that anything performs the basic function that it should.
All
Never
I can
assume
say is,
users can handle anything. You know, they've actually, I'm pretty sure they've done studies. Remember at the very intro when we said no one does research? I'm pretty sure they've done studies, and I won't quote anything, but I'm going to just spout off my ass right now. People's IQ drops when they read something on a computer screen. And I believe that.
So, John,
and
do you
so
have
he's going to
any
turn on the
more?
computer screen and read something.
I wonder if I can find it. Basically, I saw how users read an error pop up. It's like,
Stop
fire photon cannon.
doing research. Do you have
This
any
isn't
more
research. I'm
products?
trying to find a picture.
We can't afford to lose any more IQ points on you, darling.
Uh, challenge accepted.
Okay.
I mean, with how much of my ginger beer you drank, Mom?
Hey, that was delicious.
And it's also filled with brain-eating amoeba. But that's a topic for a different time. Don't worry about it.
This is the way to make sure you get to drink all of your own beer. Is that you tell everybody I'm sorry, this batch wasn't a good one.
Sorry, I've developed an immunity to iocane powder, and I find that it gives the beer a certain zing. Also, never mess with the Sicilian when death is on the line.
Yeah.
So, I hope y'all have enjoyed us being facetiously familial. We'll be back at the same time, same place next week, assuming that I have not been a lazy bastard. Have a nice one, y'alls.